Hey, how's everybody doing? My name is Eric Gans, and I am a home energy audit, certified home energy auditor in Maryland, and I am with Mr. Kyle Farrell.
Hey, how's it going, Eric?
Hey, Kyle. And today, this is our third episode of doing this podcast together, and we're still trying to, quite honestly, figure it all out. But today's show is going to be a good one. You don't want to miss it. It's going to talk a little bit about some things that, maybe you haven't really thought about before. For example, your ducts and where they're living in your house, and also how the home performance with Energy Star program works, and some of the things related to blower doors. So it's a show you don't want to miss, and we're excited about it. First thing I wanted to do before we get into that, though, is I just wanted to thank anybody out there that's actually listening. We really appreciate it. The show's purpose is to help Marylanders get more comfortable, to take control of their comfort in their house. And, in the process, that's going to help with your energy usage and your bill as well. So please spread the word. And I also wanted to let you know about a great resource that I am working on. It's on my website. You can go to the homepage of my website. It's homeairleakagetest.com. And right there, as soon as you land on it, you're going to see a little video. But if you scroll down, then you can click on the IRA button, which is basically the Inflation Reduction Act information page that I'm trying to keep updated for everybody, so that as I get new information, being closer to the thing, being in the field, then people in Maryland can use that as a resource. And that's enough about me. I wanted to also allow Kyle to talk about anything that he'd like to talk about housekeeping wise. Kyle?
Yeah, Eric. So I got a trailer recently. I set it up for installation work. Did like lights in it, everything like that. Have everything set up like exactly the way that I want it to run, where it's like smooth and easy, and we can get a job done really, really well with it.
Gotcha.
So that's very, very exciting. And then website, I got a featured snippet, man, which is really, really exciting. Yeah.
I
So
know.
for like
Yeah.
duct leakage, it's like here we'll pull it up and see what it
Yeah.
says.
So it's like Google is already, you just made the page within the last, what, 90, 60 days?
Yeah, and I opened the website. I opened the website like roughly like 60 days ago. Yep. Yeah.
So you are already an expert on duct leakage testing, according to Google.
According to Google. Yep. Yep.
That's great.
Well, where is it?
But you know what? While you're looking for that, you know what I would say?
What's that?
That actually, to me, is a sign. It's, those Google, the people there, the people that are making these search engines are smart. So the fact that they picked up on you so quick, it just goes to show that you are an expert in it. So it kind of shows like they know what they're doing over there at Google.
Yeah, it's funny too because um, I had to do the BPI like renewal. Like we were talking about it last week. I had no idea. I really didn't about like having to renew and get CEUs to get the new certifications that BPI is doing.
Right.
And for duct leakage, I did the best in like the ducting portion of everything. Like all my testing was like between 95 and 100% for all of the tests, and it was like 10 subjects.
Gotcha.
And then other ones I did like decent with, but that was like my top subject. Pretty much
Gotcha.
the duct leakage. Yeah, it was like the code for the snippet says the code for duct testing in Maryland is based on the IECC code 2018. According to this code, all new residential and commercial buildings in Maryland are required to have their HVAC duct systems tested for air leakage. So that's cool.
Yup.
Very, very
Yeah,
cool. Yep.
definitely.
Excited, man.
Yeah. So, all right, well, that's great. The big thing that we want to do each week as a reminder is we want to take something interesting that happened to either of us while we were in the field working within the home performance industry, working on houses, doing this insulation and air sealing and duct leakage stuff, and try to bring it out to showcase it to people so that they can use the information maybe to snoop around their own house and see if the problem is happening to them, or maybe they can relate to the problems in a certain way, which might lead them to look in a certain area because the same problem happened to somebody else, that type of thing. So that's the goal of the show, one sort of snippet each week. And I'm going to start with Kyle. And we'd like
Sure.
to know from you, Kyle, what interesting thing did you come across this week?
Whole house fans. Whole house
Whole
fans
house
are
fans.
huge,
Yes.
man. Yeah.
Yes.
So we did an audit on a house not too long ago. I'd say like a month and a half, maybe.
Okay.
And while I was doing infrared, I was just skimming, was trying to take note of like things that I think are going to be problematic. So whole house fan. I went up to that and it was just like probably like a 3 by 3 whole house fan, somewhere around that range.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And it was just pouring air out and dust, and like you could see like stuff coming from the attic into the house from the whole house fan while I was running the blower door test.
Gotcha.
And we went out, we did the job on Wednesday. I disconnected the electric for it and then hopped up into the attic and like pulled back some of the knee walls attached in like an upright knee wall. Pulled
Okay.
back some of the knee wall insulation and then ran Skyflex, 2 layers of it just because I wanted it to be like stiff, sturdy. And for that job, there wasn't that much at the attic floor to air seal. So like recessed lights, there wasn't any of those. They're just wall tops pretty much and electrical fixtures, a couple electrical fixtures.
Gotcha.
And we ended up getting a 40% reduction. Close to a 40% reduction. Is that like 37 or something like that
Thir- Okay. Okay.
on
Okay.
the blower door
So
test from start to finish?
I see. So what you're saying is that when you were assessing the house,
Right.
you didn't notice that many opportunities to reduce the leakage. So
Right.
you sort of estimated, what did you estimate it would be?
I set it at 20%.
Which
Like
is actually
reasonable.
really, yeah, well, that's really, I
Yeah.
mean, that's still really good. But
Yeah.
you're saying you ended up getting like 37?
37, yeah, and that's like
Ah,
Anthony and I were talking and like that's huge. Like 10%'s all right, 15%'s like reasonable, 20%'s also reasonable. But then you get into like 30 and 40%, and that's like they're gonna notice a huge difference because that's like a window being open, like multiple
right,
windows being open. It's
right.
it's crazy,
Yeah,
crazy. So I was
yeah,
excited, very, very excited about that.
yeah. Yeah, one way that I have people sort of measure that, use a measuring stick, is I explain that BGE and Pepco, they only require a home to get 10% to
Right,
qualify.
right,
So,
100%.
so if
Yep,
you're getting like
definitely.
3 and 4 times that, then that's really good. Yeah.
Yep, it's exciting.
Cool. So you think all of that just came from the fact that you were able to cover. So tell me, I mean, just so I can understand, because that's the whole point of this. I don't know that a lot of people really understand exactly what we do.
Sure.
Just
Yep.
sort of tell me, like, what exactly did you do to seal that fan up?
So with that I pulled back. It was really, really close to like the ceiling of the first floor is a ranch. And then trying to like
So
imagine a
was
way
it
to
in the
set up.
ceiling, the fan, or
No,
was it in the
no,
wall?
it was in a knee wall. It was in a knee wall, but it was low, very, very low on the knee wall.
So it was in
So
sort of it was in a like a vertical wall. It wasn't
vertical wall, yeah, in a
okay because
vaulted section of the house.
gotcha.
Yep.
Okay,
Yep, like
okay,
really right in the kitchen. Like that's like it was right in the kitchen. I don't know if they use it as an exhaust fan, probably dual purpose, like they use it as exhaust fan sometimes, and then used it as like the spring. You can only use a whole house fan. That's why they're so inefficient. You can only use them in the springtime. And even in the springtime, if you have
got
allergies,
it.
it's like drawing a ton of dust and pollen into the house. Like right now is the perfect time to use it. Every day when I go outside, my truck is like completely coated with pollen. So if you have allergies, it's
Right.
kind of like bad for that. So it was like low on the knee wall. I pulled the insulation back uh off of the drywall to be able to get to it,
Mm-hmm.
get to every point that I could seal on it.
Mhm.
And then I pulled the insulation back off of the knee wall, that upright wall. And then I cut a piece of Skyflex to match. And Skyflex is just like a bubble wrap material. It's a good air barrier. It's formable, so you can kind of like bend it and move it and
Gotcha.
shift it into place.
Right.
And then I stapled it to the side of the knee wall. I stapled it to the top of the knee wall. I stapled it to the bottom of the knee wall and like the upright framing.
Mhm.
And then ran foam around the outside edges to seal everything. That way, no air could get in from the attic like into the house.
So she wasn't planning on using.
No, 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 no. She was like, I've been here for like a year and a half. I haven't even touched this thing. And I
Got
was like, cool, they're horrible. They're
it.
not, it's not good to use.
For
Especially, and she
sure.
had allergies too. So it's like,
Now,
yeah.
just real quick on that, when you say allergies, how would pulling air from the house to the attic, how would that create pollen getting inside?
With with everything, anything that's outside. So for the whole house fan to work, you have to crack like a couple windows in the house. And if there's
Ah,
anything airborne outside, and I mean it could be not only pollen, dust, um, I mean if someone farts outside,
sure.
it's gonna suck it in. Like by the
Yeah.
window, it's gonna suck it in.
Well, what I forgot, because I guess I'm so used to doing the blower door test, which is
Right,
sort of
right,
like a whole keeping all of the windows and doors shut and everything. I was like, I forgot that for a whole house fan, you got to crack the window. That's the whole point.
right. Yeah,
So
yeah.
yeah, of course you're going to get pollen and stuff inside.
Right.
So, yeah,
And just like when I did the blower door test and all that dust came in from outside, it's like a reverse effect, right?
yeah,
That could be doing that naturally on its own when it's like opposite temperature air
yeah,
that wants to infiltrate into the least invasive space.
right,
I mean, the air moves in literally the easiest way that it can go, and that would be like a perfect opportunity for
for
it to get
sure.
into the house and with dust and like yeah. And then she actually had two to double up on that. She had a an attic fan,
Mm,
and with the attic fan being in place and the whole house fan being open like that, that's just like as soon as it kicks on, it's just like sucking all the cool air right out of the house.
yeah,
So
for
it's a
sure.
really, really cool way to like
Because
seal everything up tight.
you're saying the attic fan would kick on,
Right.
create negative pressure in the attic, and
Yep.
because that whole house fan was just a gateway, it would
Yep.
pull conditioned air from the house. Right.
Definitely.
Yeah,
Definitely. Which is
definitely.
something to keep note of too in like other houses.
Yeah,
If they're set and they're not sealed, then it's gonna pull conditioned air from the house.
I always tell people that.
Yeah.
Because one of the first things people ask me during the summer audits is, hey, what do you think about a whole house fan?
Right.
And whole house fan is good if,
Sure.
it's going to promote attic ventilation, but not in the summer when you don't have the house disconnected from the attic. Because guess what? Like you said, you're pulling cold air
Right.
straight from the house. So,
100%.
yeah.
Yeah.
So if you
So
air seal, yeah.
no, 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 you're good. You're good.
I just going to say if you air seal, then a whole house fan is great.
Yep. Yeah. And sometimes it's not even like a necessity anymore after your air seal. They were built for like
Exactly.
humidity.
Right.
Humidity and ventilation like you were saying.
Right.
And like if they don't have like if you don't have soffit venting and you only
Yes.
have gables, that's like another reason they were kind of like built as a thing.
Yeah, yeah,
Yep.
yeah, and I think you're right. It's important for me to say that, then a whole house fan is, or I'm sorry, attic fan is good if you air seal. But what I really mean is it's not going to help your comfort or your energy
Right.
efficiency. It's just going to make your
No.
attic a little bit more vented out. So
Right. Which will help like the temperature on the lower floors. Yeah.
exactly.
So what did you come across, Eric?
Yes. So me, mine is it's a Maryland themed type thing because one of the things, have you ever come across, do you know the name Levitt Homes?
Yeah, 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 yeah. It was a huge thing in like you correct me if I'm wrong, like the 50s and the 60s, like a Cape Cod style house, just kind of like one that they put everywhere, right?
Yeah,
They were
so
like cost effective.
well, the Levitt homes, you have it mostly right. The
Okay.
Levitt homes in Maryland it's two areas that I'm aware of. It could be a little bit more, but there's an area in Bowie and there's also an area in Laurel. So these are both PG County. Maryland. And what it is they have different styles. So they'll have a Cape Cod, they've got a Colonial, they also have a Rancher, and they're all pretty much cookie cutter styles. So they're all exactly the same in the two developments.
Right.
And I guess what was interesting and what I find interesting, because I've done several audits on Levitt homes over the past, 5 years or whatever. I've probably done close to 20 of them now.
Okay.
And I did one the other day. And what I found, and you're probably going to know what I'm talking about, is oftentimes, unless there's been a retrofit or something, the return for the central HVAC system, the return runs through the attic. And in the process, additionally, the returns that the builder chose to use are some type of, and maybe you know more about this, it's some type of a foam type of return. It's not, traditionally they use a metal ducting, even back in the 60s. But this builder used some type of foam, which gets kind of crusty and sort of over time it's dried out. And then what that leads to are cracks and crevices around all of the seams, even worse than what I see in, again, like older metal ducts.
Right.
But have you ever come across this?
Yeah, it's like a fiberglass. It's fiberglass, surprisingly. Yeah,
yes.
Fiberglass. And then it's also, dude, for air quality, it's not so great as well, because if it's shifted and like touched, sometimes it'll like jumble that stuff up on the inside if it doesn't have like a good caking of, like, hate to say it, but like dust on the inside of it, and you cannot clean those. You cannot do duct cleaning on them whatsoever. It'll just stir up like so much stuff.
Yeah.
So much stuff. You could seal it, but like doing the duct cleaning would not work.
Yeah. So do you think that a duct cleaning company, which I don't think is a good thing or a bad thing, I don't think it's required or anybody needs one, but it's not going to help you or hurt you. But do you think that a duct cleaning company would even check that before they decided to do it? Have you ever come across that? Where they would refuse to do it, or they'll just do it no matter what?
If it's, I'm not sure how their process works.
Yeah.
I would hope that they would at least run like a probe camera through the system to be able to check that stuff, so that they can see what's going on in there.
Or even do a visual,
Yeah.
But anyway, because I just thought about that.
It's an unconditioned space zone, you can't get to it. That's where it's
Yeah. Well, you're right, but if you pop your head in the attic. But,
right.
But the reason I asked that is because I see so many duct cleaning companies online through Facebook. And I'm just like, I wonder. But anyway, back to it. So, but anyway, I think the one thing that I wanted to just sort of relay to people is when it comes to the duct work that they have in their house. It's like you said, you can't really do much earlier when you were talking about, you can't do much about the stuff that's behind the walls. You can't really see that. But the ones that are in the attic, if you do have them in the attic or a crawl space or anything like that, you definitely want to check them out, because duct leakage is a huge problem and it's a huge opportunity. So you could really change the complexion of the comfort in your house with just a little bit of love to the ductwork. So that's kind of my message from all of this. But I also wanted just to mention the Levitt home thing, in case anybody out there is listening, that those are definitely more susceptible even to the metal duct. So you want to definitely take a look if you've got that type of house.
Nice.
So that's pretty much it for this week. I think the last thing that we wanted to do here is just, we wanted to urge, anybody out there that, for example, hey, if you aren't sure if you have that type of duct, or maybe you don't want to, pop your head in the attic or whatever, a great way to get all this checked out is to get a home energy audit through the Pepco and BGE Home Performance with Energy Star program. It's only $100, and it's actually, you get a tax credit too for 30%. So it's really only $70. So that's my thought about it. Kyle, anything you want to add?
No, not really. Yeah.
And you're heading out to a duct leakage test today?
I am. Yeah. The first like automatically scheduled lead. Yeah.
From your website?
From the website, which is really, really cool. Yeah.
Sweet.
Excited.
Yeah. Well, awesome, dude. We'll have fun with that. And that's another thing. Hey, if you ever need a duct leakage test, you know how to reach out to.
Yep.
Kyle's there for you.
Yep. Yep.
All right, Kyle.
Yep.
Until next week, thank you for anybody out there in this world that's listening. We appreciate it.